to learn the real history of America. That's what we fight for. Justice, we fight for good judges, right? Judges who will uphold the rule of law, judges who will be actually impartial and fair, and judges who won't accept bribes from billionaires. Yes. Is that the new, that's the new level? Fair to say, yes. That's the new level. And then democracy is, of course, the right to vote and the right to have everybody's vote count just the same. So we wanted to have this briefing because we knew some of our members could not be here in Chicago. So we wanted to tell you what it was like. We wanted to hear from you too as we head into the final 2 days of the DNC, what you'd like to see us fighting for as we're meeting and having panel after panel and discussion after discussion with other movers and shakers here in our progressive space. So first, before I do that, Marge and I want to introduce you to Markus Batchelor, who's our National Political Director. Markus is just going to walk us through People for the American Way's political strategy in this election cycle. And then I'm going to kick it to our field reporter. We've got our field reporter. I always wanted to say that. She's Vice President Raquel Jones. She runs our campaigns and programs, but today she's a field reporter. She's over at the arena. We're a few blocks away. She's over at the arena, and she wants to show you some of the art, our guerrilla marketing that we're using not only here in Chicago, but in states around the country to carry on Norman Lear's legacy of moving our politics forward by using art and culture to change people's hearts and minds. So I'm going to pass it to Markus, and then we'll be right back.
Yeah, thanks, Svante. Thanks, Marge. And thank everybody who's already joined us, the tons of people who've already joined us in the first few minutes of this call. We're really excited to be in Chicago and obviously to bring all of you in this experience. We're all watching and excited, just as excited as you all are watching from home about what's going to happen and what's going to come out of this convention leading to November. So we want to walk you through really quickly just our game plan, People For's game plan for the weeks and months ahead. While we know that the excitement that's coming out of this convention is going to be important, it's not going to be the end of this fight. And we need all of you really to lean in over the next 70 odd days to make this happen. So we want to give you a quick preview of what that means at People for the American Way. So we'll get all this quick slide deck up and then we will, I'll walk you through it. So our plan is pretty simple. It is a plan called People for 2024. And we are not just looking, obviously, to elect Kamala Harris president, but make impact up and down the ballot. Next slide. I don't have to explain to anybody likely on this call or anybody who's watched the last couple days of the convention or the Republican convention a couple weeks ago where we were on the ground I don't think anybody is under any misconception that the stakes couldn't be higher in this election, not just the threat that Donald Trump poses and that a second Trump term poses to the White House, but also the far-right attacks on our institution, from the freedom to learn to the right to fair courts. We are under siege on all sides, and we know that this election is not just going to be important for who holds the White House, but also who holds the House, the Senate, and positions up and down the ballot where we know that our freedom is on the line. Next slide. So our People for 2024 plan, like I said, is about defending those values up and down the ballot. And the next slide, I'll just walk you through really quickly how we'll do that. One is pretty simple: to keep Donald Trump out of the White House. That's why we are here in Chicago this week to nominate Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and make the stakes clear for why Donald Trump will be a threat to our freedoms in 2025 and beyond. But we also know that to achieve all of the things that we must achieve in the years ahead, we must have a progressive majority in the House and Senate to achieve things like passing comprehensive voting rights reform, comprehensive immigration reform, protecting the right of women to choose. All of those things will be critical in the next Congress, and obviously defending our values across the country in state and local elections, knowing that the decisions being made by 1 or 2 votes in state legislatures or on school boards, or the signatures or executive actions that happens in governors' mansions impact millions of us, and we can't keep our eye off the ball for those fights either. Next slide. So this is how we'll do it. One, we'll endorse. We are going to, and you've seen our endorsements rolling out over the last few weeks. We've endorsed a slate of incredible Senate candidates. We've obviously endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be our next president and vice president. Today, we released the first rounds of our House endorsements, and we'll continue to roll those endorsements out over the next several weeks. And then we'll be having conversations with you in the weeks to come, especially post-convention, about the work we must do to support bold, progressive candidates up and down the ballot, including at the state and local level. Two, we take grassroots action, just like we're doing here in Chicago, moving our members, moving you, but also moving a message. We'll see a little later our viral messaging for the Democratic Convention. If everybody was paying attention to our coverage of the RNC, we also did some high impact messaging there. And if you're watching the convention tonight, you'll also see an ad from People for the American Way air. So there's a lot that we're doing to tie in grassroots action, to tie in partnerships with our artists and influencers on the ground, and obviously to take that message online in digital organizing. So a lot to do over the next several months, and People For has a long history of making impact on the ground. Next slide. And like I said, just really quickly, People For Kamala is our fight today, but we know that next slide, that it doesn't end there, that we have to make impact up and down the ballot at the White House, at the State House, and beyond. And this is how you can help us out. Next slide. Please get involved with us. So let's just go through. We've got our target states. Please go to peoplefor2024.org to see all of this information. But really do register to vote, track our endorsements, donate, and take action with us on all these critical issues that we know are going to be important. All of these critical fights up and down the ballot. We're really excited to get active with you. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Markus, very much. Obviously, he's the best in the business, so he's going to stay on the line for questions. You can drop in the chat or in the Q&A any questions you have about how we can win this November. Do encourage you to visit our website and check out our new brand, which Markus is sporting. Marge is also sporting the new People for the American Way brand. If you are still wearing the old brand, or as we say, brand classic, that's great. Keep it, because it's only going to go up in value. But in the meantime, you can get our new gear and merch at the shop at peoplefortheamericanway.com. So we obviously, as Markus says, we know how to do this. We've done it before. We keep getting smarter, leaner, and more efficient in our GOTV operations. We've also built partnerships with people that we really believe in. So would love for you, if you are interested in volunteering, to check out Vote Save America. Anybody on the line? I mean, this is the Nerd Olympics. We've agreed on that now, that we can call this the Nerd Olympics.
Yes,
it's every 4 years.
Nerd Olympics,
This is where I shine. I had asthma, so I have asthma. So I watch the Olympics and I root for them, but I don't. When I see a good policy discussion happening on stage, that's when I really go for it. So if you are here tuning into the Nerd Olympics, then you probably know Crooked Media, Pod Save America, Love It or Leave It, that whole crew. We've partnered with them for the last couple of years. In fact, even welcoming their DC operation into our offices. So we share space now. Yesterday, we had a great event with Dan Pfeiffer and Tommy Vitor. And they have very sophisticated volunteer operations. So if you're interested in volunteering, particularly in swing states, check out Vote Save America, because we love it and we work together very closely.
But don't forget, you can donate to us so that we can continue our work. Right? You're supposed to, so we continue our work. But there are really some great volunteer opportunities. Vote Save America, they can really put you to work. So the best of all worlds.
Yes, yes. And when you donate to us, of course, we support Vote Save America. Right. So your financial support helps make their entire world go round. We do have live in the field our field correspondent, Raquel Jones. She's actually, of course, I think many of you know that she is our Vice President of Campaigns and Programs. So everything from our work with young elected officials to our African American ministers program to our work with Artists for Democracy, which actually, Raquel, I'd love for you to talk about Artists for Democracy right behind you. Raquel runs here at People for the American Way. She is standing with what has become the star of the convention. I don't know if you saw Raquel, but Ayanna Pressley just took a selfie there and posted on Instagram like an hour ago. So you just missed her in front of our wall. Raquel, do you want to tell us where you are and what's going on?
Yes, I was so excited to be here in Chicago on the ground with our Victoria Casanova Freedom piece of Kamala Harris. The energy is amazing. I'm so sorry to have this Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, but we are here near McCormick. It's actually all over Chicago and we'll be here for foreseeable future, but really excited. There's great energy here, joined with Josh as well, and just great energy throughout all over Chicago. People are really energized and excited about having a candidate who is going to protect democracy and the freedom of all of ours.
I love it. Raquel, can we have folks here in the chat from Memphis, from the Bronx, somebody from St. Petersburg, Florida, your stomping grounds. We got folks from Alabama, from all over the country. Can you talk about what we're going to be doing with our art this election cycle and into the future, how we use art to motivate and turn out voters?
Yeah, we know that art has a way of touching folks that sometimes words don't. And so we're using our art to move folks to the polls, using creative ways to express the messages we need to save our democracy. And so looking to come to a community near you, you can go to our website to see more of our art. This is just one piece by, again, Victoria Casanova, but there are lots of artists that we're working with, and there'll be lots of pieces available on our website. And we're going to be using it to drive voters to the polls, sending messages in battleground states. We'll be putting up billboards, looking at potentially murals, more wheat pasting across the country. Folks are excited and energized about the art. And we know that, again, art seems to speak to the heart and is really motivating folks.
So obviously, we're going to be going through people's phones and through their laptops and through their televisions. But we also are in the real world, already up on billboards and on walls across the country. So if you, from Tennessee, hi, Arthur in Knoxville, if you think that some of our art, and you can check it out on the website, and the stable of artists from Shepard Fairey to Victoria Casanova, if you think this art would be useful in your community, just let us know. Send us a message saying, yes, bring this to Knoxville. We think this piece would work well. Let us know, because we want it to be everywhere it's useful. I'd like to actually, we're joined by a very special guest. I don't know if Sarah, I see Sarah is on, but I don't know if she's still with us. Sarah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes. Thank you for joining us. You are with the People for the American Way family, of course. Do you want to say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us just a couple minutes about what your experience has been like here at the DNC?
Listen, thank you, Svante. Hey, Raquel, how are you, fam? I was literally just there. I just posted right by the poster. Thank you, Marcus. Listen, People for the American Way are absolutely family. I feel like I grew up with this community as a young elected official, and you have honestly made me the policymaker I am today. I currently serve in Michigan in the state Senate, and just made history as the first Black woman to chair the powerful Appropriations Committee. They gave me the ability to negotiate billions of dollars, and we've done so with a progressive and equity lens. And I could not have done that without the people on this call, with just the support, the professional development, and the love. And when I tell you, this Democratic National Convention is like nothing I've ever experienced before. The energy is just electric. I've never seen just complete strangers coming up to each other, hugging each other, loving on each other. And it's not just about, Little John coming down and getting us all hyped up. It is not just
cool.
common.
That was cool.
Right. It was pretty cool, right? I mean, Hattie LaBelle, we have policymakers, Ayanna Presley, Hakeem Jeffries, Raphael Warnock. You just see these people on the street and they are open, just sparking up conversations. It's not just about that though. We understand the assignment. We know what our marching orders are. All of us are literally gathering this energy and we are organizing when we go back home. So this is like nothing we've ever seen before. And mind you, this is my first convention in person. So, but I'm telling you, it's the most lit. I have to say that. It's just amazing. And I'm telling you,
And we
that
haven't even
convention
seen,
floor,
we haven't even seen, you know what's coming tomorrow. I mean,
listen, my sorority sister is coming tomorrow. I think an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman is coming tomorrow. I think the first Black woman president is coming tomorrow. So I'm excited. But just thank you for just letting me pop on and hopefully sharing some of the energy that we're feeling here. It's amazing. It really is.
we are thrilled. We are thrilled. Hopefully everybody on the call can understand why Sarah is one of our favorite elected officials in the country. Just for years, we believe in and support you and everything you're doing in Michigan. I want to thank you for spending a couple minutes with us. And I hope you don't mind that, you know, Michigan and Wisconsin seem to be at the center of the attention right now. This beef, I want to introduce Marcelia Nicholson from Wisconsin. And there, should we figure out between the two of you while we're here, this peninsula thing, who gets it? Do we
go Pack, go Bucks.
All right, Sarah, thank you. I won't put you on the spot. Thank you, Marcelia.
Hey, sis.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Between the two of you, I feel like we could finally make peace between the Lions Nation and Packer Nation. Marcelia, how are things going? How's it coming here to Chicago from Wisconsin? Did you have a big cheese hat on your head last night? And where can I get one? And tell us, how are you doing?
Hi, Svante. Hey, Raquel. So good to see you. Thanks, people, for the American Way for having me. Hello, all of y'all in my young elected official family. Like Sarah, I'm just so proud and honored to be on the call to address all of you. I am a proud member of the YO delegation, and like her, you have poured so much into me as chairwoman of the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors. We're the largest county in the state, and I'm also the first African-American woman and Latina to lead and take care of $1 billion budget annually. So I just first had to shout you all out. Thank you so much. But so I took a short ride down with our county executive, David Crowley, who's also a YO member. And it was about an hour and 20-minute ride down to Chicago from Milwaukee. And as soon as you hit the floor, the energy was just bone chilling. You could feel it. It was electric. It was palpable. We built a big tent and it shows the unity in the space. It's just absolutely phenomenal and electrifying. I did have my cheese hat last night on when we announced our nomination. We submitted our votes for our nomination for our Vice President, Kamala Harris, to be our first woman of color president. And Svante, what I'll do is I'll get a cheese hat. I'll either bring it to our next YO convention or I'll send it to you in the mail because you gotta rep Wisconsin. Wisconsin is where it's at.
And I will, so as you know, I spent the last decade as mayor of Ithaca, New York, in upstate New York, which is where the best and tastiest cheese comes from.
I don't know about that.
Cheddar, but only this year and right up until November 6th, I will rep Wisconsin cheese as hard as it takes.
I appreciate that. And Svante, why I have to say we have the best cheese is we're in the Midwest. And what's also great about the Midwest is our vice president nominee, Tim Walz, who's America's coach. He's accepting his nomination speech today, and he's been delivering for working families. And the Kamala Walz ticket is really going to take us to the future, a brighter tomorrow, work for the working class, and do what needs to be done to make sure that we all can thrive in our communities. When we vote, we win.
I 100% love that. Coach Walz seems to really be striking a chord with people. Does he remind you of, he reminds me so much of like, it's just the best versions of this is going to sound weird, but with so much like toxic masculinity on the other side.
Mhm.
Yes.
To see a healthy version, same with Doug last night, a healthy version of masculinity that says that we're
Yes.
not threatened by what's different. Does he remind you of the people you grew up with in the Midwest?
He does. He's just comforting. He's that dad that hunts, but also, you know, helps you pick out your prom dress.
Yeah.
He's the dad that helps you go get an oil change. He's the guy who tells you that women should have the right to choose and that we need to take care of our families. He's just an incredible individual, and I don't think Kamala could have made a better choice in electing someone who could resonate nationwide with our voters. And I'm just so proud, more than I've ever been, to be from the state of Wisconsin and in the Midwest. I think he was a great choice.
I agree. You know what's also great is that I feel like they're going to be great governing partners. But I would also watch that. I would watch that sitcom.
Yeah.
Tim and Kamala, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're bringing joy back. They're bringing fun back. Yes.
Absolutely.
And as Norman, you know, our founder, Norman Lear, he always, obviously, he like invented the modern sitcom, but he always said, you know, start with a laugh and you can get anywhere with people. Remind them that, you know, that they should take their work seriously, but not themselves seriously. And I see so much joy through the whole arena, even the Little John.
We lost it. We absolutely lost it in there.
So I won't hold you. I just got one last question. So Mayor Pete is, of course, also part of our family and a longtime member of the Young Elected Officials. He'll be speaking tonight.
Yes.
What do you expect? How do you expect the crowd reaction to be? What do you think we should look for in his speech tonight?
Well, you know, I think the great thing about Pete is he comes from, right, one of us. He's one of us. He's also had the governing experience. He's had the experience in DC and as a cabinet member, and he really understands what we need to move our country forward. As a Secretary of Transportation, he has visited Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin, our entire country, just doing what needs to be done to make sure that we have access to sustainable transit, to accessible transit. I think he'll talk a little bit about that. And I think he'll talk about why we need to show up to the ballot box. I think he'll underscore the power of a Harris-Walz ticket. I think he'll talk about why we need to show up and why we need to fight to make sure this happens. I mean, I'm excited to just see the youth, the energy that he brings to the table. And I think that's really going to resonate with folks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I've met, speaking of youth, I've met so many TikTok stars here. It's wild. And they're like, they have more followers than Tom Hanks, but they're just walking around
it's insane.
Like normal folks. Yeah, that they are buying into this movement right now.
Yes.
I think it means something.
Yeah. And
Marcia,
I think
thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, Svante, I have to, before I let you go, I have Dorsey of Players here, who's also a YO member.
Oh my
God. Hi.
Oh my God. Dorsey. So for our members on the call, couple of hundred folks who are on the call, and then everybody on social. Dorsey is the city councilwoman from Albany, New York, the second best city in New York State, behind Ithaca, New York, and is going to be the next mayor of Albany if we have anything to do about it. And this has become, like this whole week has been, just a joy and a celebration of Black women in office and all the wonderful things you've accomplished. Dorsey, you've been in office a decade?
A decade, and now city auditor, councilwoman, city auditor, and then hopeful city mayor.
Awesome. Just one of the best elected officials in the country. Boy, Dorsey, Marcella, and Sarah Anthony. I'm not good at the stock market, right? But these three are the NVIDIA stock of politicians. Get in on the ground level now. Marcella and Dorsey, will you drop your social in the chat so everybody knows where to follow you? Because I'm telling you, these are the folks that 4, 8, and 12 years from now, we're all going to be watching up on that main stage.
Yep.
Really tremendously proud of you and great to see you. I'll come find you in the arena tonight.
Yes, we'll look for you too.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Get out
Love
there and
you.
vote. Let's bring it home.
Okay, so I want to field a couple questions because we do have a little bit of time left. So if you have any questions, do put them in the Q&A or put them in the chat. We've got some already in advance. I want to ask Marge to put you on the spot for a serious question, because it is so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And during the week of the convention, you can feel invincible, like you're going to win, nothing's going to stop you. But this is obviously going to be extremely tight race. I mean, we're a closely divided country. They have a ton of money on the other side. They have a ton of control, including, they have control of a lot of our media now. It's not just the Murdochs and the Fox News, it's the Twitter, the X, and the guy that owns it, and all of that. This is going to be tough. So even if I'm not even going to speak that out loud. Let me put it this way. 5 months to go in the Biden administration. No matter what happens in November, what's important for us to get done in the 5 months that we have to go? And what are we pushing for both this week and for the rest of?
Okay, so there's two things. One piece of it is, as folks who know us know, we're very, very committed to putting as many fair-minded judges on the court as we possibly can. And we have a lot of work to do. We have 21 really excellent judicial nominees waiting for Senate votes and more coming out of committee. And we need to get those nominees confirmed. So it means that we've got to get the senators to come back in September and walk and chew gum. Yes, this election is extraordinarily important, and it's important that they do what they can to get these nominees confirmed. And then post-election, no matter what happens, they've got to come back and use a lame duck, as Trump did, to get, and McConnell did, to get what these Biden-Harris nominees confirmed. It's really, really extraordinary. We are within sight, not to get too much in the weeds, but there have been 205 Biden judges confirmed, including an incredible justice of the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson. We need 35 more confirmations for the Schumer-Biden-Harris team to pass the McConnell-Trump team, and we can do it. There are enough nominees in the pipeline, we can do it, but we've got to get them to put their nose to the grindstone and stay in, get it done, number one. Number two.
Wait, and can you just for a second about why that's important? Because in the chat, a lot of folks are rightly saying, like, choice is obviously, and the right to an abortion is obviously huge.
Right.
But climate policy, the way that administrations, including the EPA, can regulate the environment, to the way money influences a policy. I mean, name an issue.
Name an issue, and who sits on these federal courts makes a difference in terms of your rights. And we have done calculations that show there's hundreds of millions of people affected by the current vacancies that exist, where there are nominees ready to be confirmed and to support all of these incredible rights, from anything from voting rights to reproductive freedom to climate, as you say, to economic justice. Everything depends, as we know, on what the federal courts can do, and we've seen it do some pretty bad things. Can you name Matthew Kacsmaryk and Eileen Cannon? And shame on us if we leave those vacancies unfilled. So that's why it's so important.
And they create pathways, not only bad decisions at the local level, or at the but all the way up to the Supreme Court. By having these positions vacant, you give Republican administrations and bad actors more chances to go district shopping.
That's exactly right.
To introduce their affirmative action
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And they've gotten very, 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 very good at doing that. The MAGA forces have gotten very, very good at that. So that's important. And then the second thing we need to do in this next 5 months is build for what we can believe will be a trifecta where we can get things done. So build for the importance of passing voting rights legislation, Freedom to Vote Act, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and Marcus, DC statehood. Build for passing national abortion freedom protections. So we want to do both. We want to, in the most immediate thing is, in our view, to get these judges confirmed, but also build the energy for what we can do come January.
And how do you think we make that clearer? So, okay, let me lead the witness if I could. So Marge, okay, Marge and Paul and Elliot and our tremendous tradition, they both went to law school and I didn't, a thing I resent but pretend not to. And they all went to the Ivy League schools that I wanted to but didn't get into, which is a thing I resent but pretend not to. So I'm going to play lawyer for a second and lead the witness. Unlike President Biden, if Kamala Harris is elected, she needs to get reelected 4 years from now.
Right.
So isn't it true, counselor, that it is more important than that we run up the score to give her a broad mandate so that if she squeaks over the line, she may feel like she has to have a cautious agenda. Don't we want to give her the wiggle room to have a bold agenda and enough room, particularly with the Senate, to get not only judges appointed, but to bypass the filibuster and
Yes.
pass the Voting Rights Act?
I think that's right. And we've heard speakers talk about this, the for our future agenda that Kamala Harris and Tim Walsh are representing and advancing depends on having a House and Senate that can deliver. And certainly on judicial nominations, it depends on the Senate. So we have to think, and as Marcus reviewed in the plan, we've got to think about all levels. And the energy is there. It's electric. The energy is there. We just have to turn that into the votes necessary up and down the ballot to make sure that we have folks in office who can deliver. Because we can't deliver on, I mean, if the Democrats don't keep the Senate, we can't deliver on judicial nominations. Mitch McConnell and his folks are going to do everything they possibly can, no matter who the new leader is, Republican leader is, to halt things, to stop things, to put brakes on. We can't have that happen.
So I want to, if I
Did
could,
I answer your question, Council?
you did. I mean, ipso facto, et ceteras, to ad hominem. I don't know Latin. So but did it sound for a second?
It did, just for one second.
It was the ipso facto. So we know everybody's busy, and of course tonight, following Mayor Pete's speech, we're hear from former President Bill Clinton and then Coach Walz tonight. So we're really thrilled. And we want to let you go because we know you're all busy too. But just want to ask three things. You're helping three things if you could. First, if you have a place where you think our artwork would really move voters, reach out to us. Go to peoplefortheamericanway.com. Second, we need financial support always, but especially at this moment, to get the art up, to do our outreach, as you heard, our voter education, our voter registration, and the things that we know particularly well how to do, which is the mobilization of underrepresented and marginalized communities in this country. People for has done that for 40 years. There's nobody better at it. And then the third thing is that if you have any suggestions, and we've seen good ones in the chat, about what you'd like, there's only, to my knowledge, only one person in the world, maybe two, that Senator Schumer is afraid of. Nancy Pelosi and Marge Baker. Not afraid, but rightfully respectful of. As we are fighting for our core pillars of freedom, democracy, and justice, please do send us emails. Stay in touch with us. When you have ideas, policy positions, suggestions, send them to us so that we can make sure we're fighting for you, our members, here in Chicago at the DNC, but every day in DC and around the country. So I want to thank Marcus and Raquel, thank Sarah, Marcelia, Dorsey with the special guest appearance. Thank all of you for being committed supporters of what I think is the most important organization in the world at this time. It's People for the American Way, reclaiming patriotism, standing up for our country, and saying that the flag and all that it stands for can be a symbol of justice and forward-looking instead of fear of what's behind us. Thank you all for being here. The recording will be available, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
See you all soon.
Thanks.
See you later.